much truer reflection of the department than the bad report. So the criticism and the poor report was very important, and it gave us a lever to change, which we needed to do, and it's really nice to have that recognised.
And as a new manager stepping into the department, as I started in January, I think it was a real opportunity, and I was delighted that it was on the back of an unannounced inspection, so there was no predetermined activities. So they came in and they met staff they chose to meet. They had the opportunity to speak to whoever within the department, so it felt like a really true reflection of where the staff are feeling and how the department runs right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't feel like, it felt like a genuine reflection of what they found on the day, and that was really heartening to hear.
Yeah. We
were starting to turn around the productivity before COVID, and that was a huge effort, but it was very process led, and we hadn't really started to make changes to the culture and the way people felt. And one of the things that was really good about COVID was that there was so much uncertainty and such a fast pace of change several times a day that we had to get hugely good at communicating, and we had to listen to people. So we got a sort of an absolute baptism of fire of, someone would say, oh, but the Royal College of Radiographers says this, the Royal College of Sonographers says that. Lots of information coming in from all sorts of sources. And I think what everybody in the department suddenly realised is they could say something and be listened to. And we, as a group, got really good at saying, we can hear that, someone said this, someone said that, put all this information together, and then make a change. We're going to make a change that happens later today, tomorrow, based on availability of masks, availability of scrubs, red zones, all of this, and it snowballed into a feeling of how to change. And so we got into a pattern of saying yes to what staff asked for and what they suggested. And we don't say it to everything, but we now have a culture of people being able to, of much more of approachability and of open-mindedness to start change driven by the staff. And I think one of the other things that we've started doing is really putting staff front and centre. So they are our most important asset, far more important than any of the bits of equipment.
That's why I love my job. I love being able to take an idea from somebody who perhaps may have not spoken up normally and may have had this brilliant idea that they've just sat on, and just talking to them and making them realise how that is an excellent idea, how we can see it through, and then making sure that they realise and celebrate in the success of their own idea, because I really think that's how the improvements keep on happening, and that's how we breed an improvement culture in imaging.
As a manager, I'm only ever going to be as good as the team that I'm working with, and I think for me, I'm just very proud of the team that I've got to work with. We've got a lot of work to do, we've got a lot of ambition, but we have absolutely the key people in place to be able to drive that. So I think it's just the staff, they're great, from whether you're the radiologist, whether you're the clinical lead, whether you're the receptionist or the ICA, whoever we've got in the department, everybody pulls together, and they're just a great team of people to work with.
There, across all the modalities, there are a number of improvements that needed to be made, but the one that sticks at the forefront of my mind, probably just as I've passed being here for a year, is the CTC project. So this is an area that we were tasked with looking at, and it was an area that had been a previous problem, so that is CT colonography. As there are so many links to this chain, if you like, there were multiple areas where it was falling down. So be that the amount that we could book a patient, the amount of them receiving their gastrographin, the amount of patients even being suitable for the procedure. We had quite a few poor referrals. So what we did was we assembled a project team, a couple of really good radiographers and radiologists who were all really keen and engaged, and again wanted to make these improvements. Got them all on board, used our people first approach and our CATA methodology that we use, just broke it all down into the really small usable size, if you like. When we started, it was this massive project, and we were looking at it, how are we going to work this? How are we going to improve this? It's too huge. This is why nobody's ever picked this up before, or no change has even happened, if you like. So we broke it down, looked at our booking utilisation, looked at the provision of gastrographin, looked at the in-room experience for our radiographers and for the patients. We have an internal standard of 85%. Where we really like to be, and before that we weren't even really hitting it. If we had a graph, we were down here, we needed to be around here. And then with the service improvements that we made and that the team made, we were starting to see that line really creep up quite quickly. And now we're regularly surpassing 85%. And at the end of February, beginning of March, I believe, we actually hit our first 100% of patients seen within 10 days.
We've just got so many, excellent pieces of equipment now moving forward. But again, it's about that time. If we value our staff, if we've got a happy team, we have much more likely to have happy patients because they will be better placed to do the care that they want to deliver. And I think it is about listening to them and understanding the realities of the jobs that they're doing. So I think it's a combination, as Lucy said earlier, of lots of little things have just started that dynamic of change, which is really positive. It's about if it's a member of if it's a member of your family that you're looking after, you want the best for them, and we want the best for our patients. And we had a conversation the other day about what is a VIP. Then actually all of our patients are VIPs to us, and I think that is the approach that our team take.
So this is our Revolution Apex. It's a GE healthcare scanner. It's the only one of its kind in England. It has the ability to acquire an organ in a single rotation, so it's incredibly fast. And it's much more powerful than other scanners, so our quality of imaging is really improved with this scanner. Yes, so we have a service improvement lead. She was recruited into post a year ago, and her impact on the department has been momentous. She is very hot on her data. She's excellent at collecting it and evaluating it. She's a graphs wizard, and it's meant that we've been able to refine and really isolate where our problems were and look in depth into those and put really practical, realistic solutions in place. We had a bit of a problem with our inpatient capacity, and we were able to gather all of our numbers about what sort of volume we were looking at on a daily basis and what we could do to increase our inpatient capacity within the resources we had available, to basically getting rid of excess waste. And really refining that process, and the service improvement lead has been instrumental to that. She takes on the responsibility of certain elements of it so that we can remain clinical, and then she'll report back to us and we'll pick it up again. Without her, we couldn't have made the improvements we have done. I love this department. I have an amazing team. They are so knowledgeable and diverse and caring, and I am so proud of them on a daily basis, and they continually meet and go above my expectations in terms of what they're prepared to do, both within their role and, because our role is completely unpredictable, what they're prepared to do outside of their role for the best interest of the patient and for the best interest of each other. Like, the camaraderie and the teamwork that goes on in my department is unbelievable, and they are an excellent bunch of humans.
So the improvements that we made within plain film, so we've run an improvement project looking at inpatient activity, and we've managed to record the fantastic work that the team are doing around getting patients down in a timely manner and helping flow around patients in the hospital and getting patients discharged, especially at challenging times. Our improvement huddles is something that's very new to plain film as a modality. However, it's something that the team have really embraced, and getting everybody's viewpoints on different issues has really helped to drive improvements and solve a lot of the smaller problems. It feels great to work in imaging at the moment. We're very progressive. We're moving a lot of different things forward to improve the quality of care for patients and also improve the working environment for our staff as well.
And it does become a bit contagious. When one person's seen something happen, maybe another person will ask for something, or the ideas get bigger. So for instance, in our plain film improvement huddle, it just started as something really simple, like, wouldn't it just be brilliant if we could have a blind on that window so that when a patient changes, it's in full confidentiality and we don't have to put the roller blind, if you like, the moving shield over the window. That would just be so much easier for us. And when they see that blind go up, it's, oh, I've asked for that and that worked. What about if we could get stoppers on the doors? What about if we could move the security camera so we can see all our patients better? And all these small changes just mount up to really big ones that when you step back and look at the department, you think, wow, in 6 months, all these tiny little suggestions that maybe somebody who would have never spoken up about have made this massive change that everybody is really proud of.
It's just great being part of team imaging.
Yes, it really is. It's standing on the shoulders of giants, I think. It's no one person.
Yes, it's a whole team effort.
Yeah, definitely.